panel, we have a diverse group of people. The organizing team, what we had actually said was, we hear from the political parties, but what about the citizens? Should we listen to them? And because of this, we organized the second panel. And in here, we have the diverse set of people, a scholar, a politician, a parliamentarian, a GUP, and a journalist. So with that, I would like to invite the first panelist, Madam Kencho Pelsom. She works as the International Relations Manager in the Royal Thimpu College. And before that, two of us worked together in Sherabji College, where she taught political science. Kencho, your 10 minutes.
Thank you. I am not going to define, but I look at good governance and democracy from one particular angle. I will look at it today, and that is inclusive participation. And under the umbrella of inclusive participation, as everybody knows, that inclusive participation is very important in achieving democracy and good governance at all levels. So the first one on apolitical status of civil servants, CSOs, and bureaucrats. I actually did a little bit of researching online to see what apolitical is, and went on all the ECB's press releases and on their acts to see what apolitic is. Apolitics means. I couldn't find any definition, but they did mention that civil servants, bureaucrats, and public servants have to be apolitical. And I find that very interesting because under this theme of good governance and inclusive participation, we leave a lot of people behind. So I found that quite interesting at a personal level also, because I'm a political science tutor myself, and as a who had worked as civil servant before. Because according to our constitution, only people with undergrad degree can participate in, stand for elections. So that accounts somewhere on 11.8%. And that's interesting in the sense, because then we want graduates who are educated to participate and be politicians, but we want our educated lot to stay away and be apolitics. So that's a big contradiction I see. We need to actively, because being from subjects to citizens, it requires practice. To be a democratically informed citizen, it requires practice. That means not only voting, but debating about issues, informed debate. So if you want to engage people in meaningful debates, we need to redefine what this apolitics is, or at least define for ourselves what apolitics means. The second one is on women's representation in Bhutan. We are saying that we will achieve SDGs according to their plans of 2013, which would mean 50-50 representation in the parliament. Where we are at is some 15% right now, 11 women representation in the parliament, 4 in NC and 7 in NA, National Assembly. Now I say this not only as a woman, but also as a political science person. It is very important, and there's so many emphasis given on why there has to be equal representation. And when we say there's only 11 women representing Bhutanese women, who is, according to our population, is almost 47%, is quite bizarre, at least to me, from a statistic perspective. And also, if you look at our global gender gap index, our rank is 122 out of 149. I know that most people say we have equal, and we tend to say that we are better than South Asian countries, but my question is, why do we want to compare ourselves with South Asian countries when we are a GNH country? Why can't we look at differently? The third one is on as we know, 24 and under, 45% is our youth population. And then according to ECB Democracy Club, there are 205 and some 7,190 students. I know there were a lot of issues raised about whether students should participate in politics. I'm not saying that we should have student politically aligned to political parties, but there must be other ways of making our students more civically engaged, active. How do we do that? That's something that I thought would be very interesting.
Thank you. just about a month and a half ago, the Parliament of Bhutan, we launched a report, National Human Development Report, in the context of 10 years of democracy in Bhutan. In terms of human development index trends, we have improved from 0.566 in 2010 to 0.612 in 2017. And among the South Asian country, there are 8 members. We are on the 4th position. In terms of poverty level, everybody knows we have improved a lot. We have decreased the national poverty level from 23.2% in 2007 to 8.2% in 2017. And likewise, overall unemployment rate has also reduced from 3.7% in 2007 to 2.4% in 2017. And these are only sporadic indicators. But if you look at the GNH survey 2015 that was conducted by Center for Bhutan Studies and GNH, this GNH index overall has improved from 0.743 in 2010 to 0.756 in 2015. So Bhutanese are a little happier. So all these statistics are some indication of whether our democracy in the last democratic form of governance has worked in the past 10 years or not. I would say we are fairly on track. Nonetheless, after listening to the earlier panel, the speakers, as well as the questions that were thrown by our audience here, we are far from being perfect. And then we need to be bold enough to recognize these challenges, the issues, the risks. For every problem, there's always a solution. But then solution, we need to identify who else the responsibility lies with whom. In the morning, I think the dialogue was going more so it is only with the political parties or politicians the responsibility solely lies on in terms of making democracy work. Maybe that was not the intention, but somehow it was giving that kind of impression. So I would like to bring those other actors to the forefront. While politicians or political parties or members of parliament or parliament may be in the front line of democracy, or maybe they are the face of the democracy. But then there are so many other actors behind the scene, and we need to bring their roles and responsibility to the fore. Those institutions I would like to point out here is one, definitely bureaucracy in a form of civil service or whatever. The other one is media. One, civil society, the local government, for example. I think we are missing out very important component of our governance. Local government and constitutional bodies, judiciary, there are so many actors who can actually collectively work towards making our democracy a success. No matter what kind of policies or legislative framework that the politicians or members of parliament come up with, but ultimately we have to use the bureaucratic tools, mechanisms to enforce them. And within that bureaucracy, do we have, again, those who really, implement seriously or, whatever is being, envisaged. Is it being translated into the right, content or translated into in letter and spirit? Then civil society, definitely, what the government cannot reach out. They can fill up the gaps. Ultimately, everybody is working towards the betterment of the society and taking the nation forward. Definitely, I would like to congratulate, in fact, that civil society, here are doing, civil societies are doing a wonderful job, and particularly in the context of, in the recent times, recently Good Governance Committee in the National Council, we have been carrying out a review of alcohol abuse situation in the country. And then I was, so touched that, our civil societies, how they have actively taken on their role to address in their own little ways, how they're reaching out to the society, the grassroots. And local government, definitely. So I'm sure my colleague on the left will have much to say later on. Also, they are the direct interface between the people, citizens, and the central government. Whatever decisions are being taken in a parliament, ultimately through bureaucracy and then local government, this must reach out to the grassroots. And then the efficiency, effectiveness of that local government, professionalism of bureaucracy, local government. So, so by looking at all this, and then of course, not to forget judiciary and constitutional offices, which has separate mandate being enshrined in the constitution, in our constitution. So all these actors must come together with a common goal of enhancing or maximizing GNH for our country or for our society. So if we have one vision and then you internalize it and you put into practice on everyday life, every activity, single moment that you live with, I think there's nothing that we cannot achieve. All we need to really be aware of is the responsibility that each one of us bear. Thank you.
Lasla, da darina lujemi kudu chede sonsum garalu kuzangbo shugela, da mede gotip, da gapni jangagi kutsapengagi darina ngachigi matsugi rinlo da shoncho legdingi kule de danga logo kapna midilo danga chi BCMD da Royal University lo kadiches shunila da nabugi gadichi yakenla mede gotip seyoganle de da tawi yonte mila ngachi lo shejangi de yugo chungkuchi dishi lashi bachin mede gotip dangsu de ngachi da kapni janga da mamingi janga digolo chokpa 정가리를 나로 촉파 캐링가 사sam치기 나치기 세자대 아님 체링 아니 베벤디기 다다네 나주면데 속이 나치기 라디 가dim치 이나 나보기 켄스슈니라 데 연tö메 비미디기 메데다치가 라베요간레 라카두스슈니라 마수기 르르디 고츠심레야 달학포디디 다줄레톤디치 시든 촉발레톤디기 니 배우간len 땡같이 메데 고트드 속에 메데나로 마 숑숑기 라디 타비간레 뜻답마드베 레샤르 테메스 주돌라 다 인루야 같이라 메왕아다 림진스도스기 칼롭 자모데 튼심네 메데나 미데술로 데 마츠게르루 양차도 데 록치록치라 까나베다 하고 빈디기 다 다레나바바와친 데당아치기 차르지디 마 미데기 라드 수가디베 점점서 말레 좀 나타 날레베 메베간레 다다레나바디 다 같이 나포베와친 날레마 슝기베심레 마 미실루베 튜비 다다레기데 말레아베 미시기베 야페베간레 디터드베 공기 말레 좀 미딩 같이 데 종카닥 종나페 종카닥 종다 지가베 같이나 게요가 케베좀다 슝가라 존르 디스다 지가 손데나베 좀마테베간레 데딜레 차다 초리 춤메시 데다치데 나 스든 속바드 수기 손데 디게 로제나 마사미 테메스 슈니라 인디 베루야 nga치기 다 미실로 랑기 십 톰디 데다 카치히 답디히 데수가라 데다 슝긴나미 망유디 nga치기 록체 베니 멤버 원세데 nga치 산에 존나비간레 담마 두브데 레심베 뜬진니디 겐콩가치로 포도 슈니라 안디베베들로 데다 다레 nga치기 마바 숑체기 다치 가게 손데 다 숑엽 데수다 nga치 메데 고트입 데수 에 폴리티컬시 다 에 폴리티컬 베 인세벤티 nga치라 테테 하미고스 슈니라 로숑기 시주날레마 점베간렌 시주 점미디 로숑베 nga치 말레 메데 고트입 데수기 미기 피미디 nga치 나 숑르 피베간레 안디 탑 따튠 모츠베간렌 델렌투슈 탑 마데 아체레 테메 시주돌라 다도 천석이 반알로 대당하지 게오 dakjongdi teda dumtrachi shungi siju tsam misige radio da rewa de sunga chi labyo de tengachi dumtrachi sanne shungi chatim de da tribe da labyo de tab dumtrare madiu theme de desuya da shundu sugi shungara dare nyamro sokpo gi shungimbe de desuya dumtsare ngachi timde jogi sugi egyptia marengam sewige ngachi samchaya yusjudula de gachimo sojin shungi 카톨레 산이 중 세베간래 종카디아 산이 shungi 카톨레 쳬비 종카 산이 shungi 카톨레 쳬비간래 대다 종카날로 잘라나메데서 가라로 마치기 대다 쉬업도 쳬베 마 라베메디 같이 메디고트도 쳬베베간래 대디날로 듬터레다 마데 쳬메 수니 당가라기 카톨레 주와디 같이 유서진 마파 shungi 짬나메디 같이 메디고트도 속이 미실로 펜토빅이 라딩가 지기 차슈도시 데다도 다 중앙탱 숨바종메 다도 선세야 레심베르 주의 데다르베르 좋은 외래와 유스슈도라 지디 같이 가톨레 같이 주는 모습이 다 짝툴레 드비 세워진 선의 중기 고팁 되어야 데다 같이기 시선디 따사지기 맞추 마랭감 세위기 삼차 규도 수준이라 같이 모습이 다 가브라베로 연투지메 베간에 미보나 되발라카두 아니 베벤디기 요 마타비 강이 같이 나전도스 요 마타비 강이 bombe도 아니 벤디기 다 가라 갑 마미 촉바 차회 간래 미 직동업자 되지메 다또 직동업자 날래 다 토름시세 다 큐디기 중로 차주면디 미 중이라 인수니 랑아지 산내 중 땡예빙이 나노 줍데템다 같이 중요업날에 곰주디 점이기 미 숨시대 지위 아니 베베다 중적이 가라 같이 마 메데날에 데다 디셀라시 충고지 시메디기 데 디기 차주도 아니 베벤디기 다다레 중계갑래 dumtra시 같이 카틀레 주와디 쪼라 아니라 중종 렉딩데 레심 조고바친 말로 차주메기 미디기 에 연투디야 고라 고베시 냠용 옆점치기 미투벨라 게오날로 히베간레 갑치다 게둥치 dakjong치메 갑디기 레코추 탱가 추담기 라베고벨라 탱가 추담기 라디 갑디기 베데베간레 dakjong디기 이사치 다즈베 게둥디기 파 메데기 데 답데오마데우디소 세베요간레 데 아치치 담마데 레샤르 유아네벤디기 dumtra체로 만마기드스야 dumtra체 데다 달레바기디 날레바베 와친 같이 메데 고텝드스야 가라 데다 연도 유미 장사지라 데나 다레 슈미기 슝기 데 시주다 같이 틈르도 수저제나디 dumtra체 레심베 제나세 슈네라 거리체
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the rest of the afternoon to present my 220 slides explaining on the theories of democracy and good governance. Giroshila. I followed the instructions. I kept it very informal to the extent that I brought in some personal things in what I'm going to say. So a long time ago, in 2001, when I joined Kunsel, soon after my graduation from Shirapsi College, my mother was very happy because as the eldest son, getting a job means a lot of things. But she never really understood my job, and I never bothered to explain. And then working in Kunsel was different. Every night I go home late. After some time she got used to it. So when I go home at 9 p.m., she thinks I'm early home. But one time she asked me if I'm paid extra or if I was really working. Then I tried to explain my job to her. And then she listened and said, in other words, you are a punze. Now, punze is everything punze roughly translates to someone, troublemakers of GML. So direct translation, it's a reporter. I joined Kunsel as a reporter, but my mother thought I was the punze. So if your job is to, why should you tell people that an official has embezzled money, or there is no drinking water here, or there are potholes on the road? With that job, she thought I'm going to get into trouble, and then she She wanted me to become a teacher, a noble profession. But today, this is my 18th year in Kunsal with a 2-year break from journalism. Today, my mom is my best source of news stories. Every now and then, she will say, "Why don't you write about this? Why don't you write about that?" And sometimes she will also say, "Ani ben Kunsal na soma da mara se." So I brought this personal story to link it to our theme today, democracy, a path to good governance. I was doing some reading last night, and I came across something very interesting which I would want to share. So I was going through the Constitution, actually, and in Article 2 on the executive, which says that the government shall protect and strengthen the sovereignty of the kingdom, provide good governance, ensure peace, security, well-being, and happiness of the people. So that provision actually defines the overall responsibility of the government. And in the words of former Chief Justice Solom Tobge, who did an analysis on the Constitution as the chairperson of the Constitution Drafting Committee. So drawing from former CJ's interpretation, I wanted to put it like this. So this is my interpretation. Good governance is the basis to ensure that all other responsibilities are fulfilled. So this is how I interpret, because we will not have happiness or well-being without good governance, because there will be no peace or security without good governance. So coming to media, so I come from the media, so I think it'll be good to touch on the role of media. The role of media was recognized long before democracy came in, and then the immediate thing we can relate to is the liberalizing of the media in 2006, 2 years before democracy was formally launched. So from just one paper in 2006, there were 3 in just about 2 years. Today we are about a dozen newspapers, radios all put together. I'm sure some of you must be thinking, yeah, but what are you doing? There are expectations, especially now with the audience or the readers becoming very demanding. They're becoming very sophisticated. They are not interested in bridge inauguration stories. They are not interested in potholes. I mean, in trainers' stories. They want hard news. They want investigation. They want exposes. There is pressure from the public. And then every time something happens, the first question is, where is the media? However, I think as a senior in the industry, at least in terms of years, I should give some credit to my colleagues in the media. I think we are playing our role. We are questioning the government on their policies, on their decisions, through our articles, through editorials. We have challenged government decisions. We have provided suggestions. The most important thing is that we have provided that platform for the people. I'm happy to say that today a lot of people come to the media. There are challenges for many reasons, or the media are maybe not living up to the expectations. Like, I believe our responsibility first is to the citizens, and then we can fulfill their responsibility by reporting. But I think our first responsibility is reporting. We report on ACC findings, we report on Royal Audit Authority findings, even if we cannot do our own investigations or exposes. And then when we put this to the public forum, I think there are a lot of questions asked on decision making. We had examples recently also about the hospitality and entertainment budget. At the same time, I would also like to say that the media is becoming bolder and more, if not more responsible, like the Shutashi pointed out. Back to my mother, I have made enemies, I have lost friends, but I'm happy that at least there are people who trust the role of media, and then they come to the media. So on this note, I would like to end. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sejal Sharma. I'm representing Ugan Academy. And my question is, what is your advice to us, the students, the future of the nation, in order for us to help promote and understand, as well as make people understand the importance of good governance?
I don't know, my understanding of engaging in politics is not necessarily joining as a candidate, but there are various ways of actually staying engaged. Of course, 50% of youth that you talked about cannot get voted in to represent in parliament. So you have to, through voting, send your representative to parliament. And today, the system, how it works in the parliament is, at least that I know of, my other colleagues, elected members, they always go back to the constituencies. I think some of them spend a lot of the time in staying in the constituencies, really listening to the issues and problems faced in the by their constituents, and they bring back those issues to the in National Council. That's how we work, through the plenary, and we sort things out and see how can those issues be addressed. Not necessarily everything that is raised by the constituents in their in their respective constituency can be addressed in a form of deliberation in the parliament, but a lot can be actually addressed at the local government level or some at the administrative level. So if the youth can also actively participate in those meetings when the members of parliament, after you have voted in, when they go back, make sure that they come for the meeting and raise their concerns. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Sugen. I'm studying in Royal Thimphu College. So my question is, under the Constitution of Bhutan, it talks about, under Article 7, it talks about the freedom to media. So my question is, are the people really being provided with those rights?
I'll talk about the freedom of the media. I think in Bhutan we are a lot better. I mean, we are, in that sense, we are a lot better compared to a lot of countries. And recently, maybe you must have also seen that how the freedom of media ranking has also improved. I take pride in being able to call the Prime Minister or the ministers late at night, ring them up, and then ask questions. But the problem, like we stressed earlier, is also, it's not with the elected government or politician. The problem is with our civil service, because there are rules that discourage civil servants from talking to media. A civil servant will have a lot of information about his department, but he's not expected to, he's not allowed to talk to media about this. So in terms of freedom, I think it's here rather than the government trying to clamp down on media or not sharing information with the media.
I think, like I mentioned earlier, democracy definitely requires a lot of practice. So does political culture, civic engagement. And because there's youth and politicians and aspiring politicians here, I think we need to think about what kind of citizens do we want to be. I would like to just summarize my talking points on this. Like, what kind of citizens do you want to be so that democracy in Bhutan is progressive?
Just like how I started in my opening statement, democracy is not just parliament, politician, or political parties. There are a lot other actors who can make it a success, and then eventually leading towards a good governance, and which again enhances gross national happiness for the country. Thank you.
Lasla. Now, I would like to take up the point on Bhutan Democracy Forum, which we have held today with a good governance, that my request to all youths who are here present, that after your degree, you are welcome to the rural areas. We have a lot of jobs for you, lot of engagements. Please don't look to the civil servants or business. Come down to your villages. We will work together, form a good team. You will grow up from a local government leader to a national level. That is my request. And Because to have a good parliamentarian, you have to have a basic understanding of your locality. If you have a good locality, be a leader of the Geo, Chiwo, whatever it may be, then you will go up to be a leader of the nation with the good governance. Thank you.
In this panel, I think the two things that came out really strongly was the need for a policy to include people with special needs, and also how to engage the youth in this kind of dialogue and in politics. So, thank you so much.